Namaste and welcome back to the DSA classes. So we were noticing in the previous couple of programs that though a question at the first sight may not seem like a binary search based questions, whenever contiguous allocation has to be performed, right, you can use binary search to find the optimal solution. Now to prove that once more, I have picked another really interesting question which is from LeetCode, question number 1482, which is called as the minimum number of days to make M bouquets. Now what does this question mean, you may ask. Let me take you directly to LeetCode and show you what the question is asking us to do. So this is the question, given an array called as bloomday, an integer M and an integer K. This is what is given. We need to make M bouquets. So you know bouquet is nothing but you take multiple flowers and wrap them up together, and you know when you want to congratulate someone or something, you give them a bouquet, right? We need to make M bouquets. To make a bouquet, you need to use K flowers. You need K flowers to make the bouquet, but the key word here is adjacent flowers. Now why is this important? I'll tell you. You need to use K adjacent flowers from the garden. The garden consists of n flowers. So there are n flowers in the garden. The ith flower will bloom in the bloom day I and then can be used in exactly one bouquet. Okay. Return the minimum number of days you need to wait to be able to make M bouquets from the garden. If it is possible to, if it is impossible to make M bouquets, return -1, and few examples they have given. Now you can also go and read this question, right, and try to come up with a solution on your own. Please pause this video and try it out. Assuming that you have tried it out, now let us move further and try to understand what exactly the question is asking us to do. Okay. Now please understand what the question is saying is, like this, you will be given an array. In this array there are few values. What this value stands for is that this is the first flower, second flower, third flower, fourth flower, fifth flower, sixth flower. The first flower, you know how flowers, right, if you have ever observed nature, you know flowers take some time to bloom, right. First it will be a small bud and then slowly it will open up. One fine day it will bloom and become a complete flower. So the first flower will take 1 day to bloom. So 1 day it takes to bloom. Second flower on the other end takes 10 days to bloom. Third flower 3 days, fourth flower takes 9 days, fifth flower takes 10 days, sixth flower takes 2 days. Now this is your garden and these are your flowers, right? So I am just showing the flowers like this. What they will do is they will give you an M value, guys. They will give you an M value, and this M value is the number of bouquets you must create using these flowers, right? And to make a bouquet, they will give you a K value, and they are saying that minimum you need 2 flowers to make a bouquet, but you can't just take any 2 flowers. You must take flowers which is adjacent to each other, which means you can make a bouquet with this flower and this flower. These 2 flowers you can make 1 bouquet. These 2 flowers you can make 1 bouquet. These 2 flowers you can make 1 bouquet. These 2 flowers 1 bouquet. These 2 flowers 1 bouquet. These, in other words, adjacent flowers only you can use. But different flowers will bloom at different days, right? So what they are trying to say is, understand. Let us assume the first day. Let us see in our garden how many flowers would have bloomed. Okay. So day 1, first flower will take only 1 day to bloom. So 100% it will bloom. So I am putting yes. Second flower will take 10 days to bloom. So that would have not bloomed. Yes. So no. This next flower will take 3 days. So no. Next flower will take 9 days. So no. Next flower will take 10 days. So no. Next flower will take 2 days. No. Which means at the end of day 1, how many flowers is there in your garden? Just 1 flower. Minimum, you require 2 flowers to make a bouquet. So tell me, you have 1 flower in the garden. Can you make a bouquet? No. No means X. Any confusion till here? Day 2, obviously first flower will bloom because it takes only 1 day. Every day that flower will bloom. So yes. Next flower, no. Oh, the last flower takes only 2 days. So yes. Any confusion till here? So now can you make a bouquet? Now you may say, yes, I have 2 flowers, I can make a bouquet. No, you are wrong. Why? Because this first flower bloomed, last flower bloomed. Are they adjacent? Is it one next to the other? No. Is it contiguous? No. If it is not contiguous, not adjacent, adjacent is another word for contiguous. Are you able to think? You can't make a bouquet, which means no. Did you understand? Day 3, first flower, yes. no. Third flower, yes, because it will take 3 days. Then no, no, yes, because that will take only 2 days, right? So obviously it will also be there. Can you make a bouquet? You have 3 flowers in your garden, but you don't have 2 contiguous flowers, you can't make. Similarly, day 4, yes, no, yes. Again, no 2 contiguous flowers, you can't make. Similarly, day 5 also, you can't make. Day 6 also, you can't make. Day 7, also you can't make. Day 8, also you can't make. But when it comes to day 9, first flower would have bloomed. Second flower would have not bloomed. Third flower would have bloomed. Fourth flower would have bloomed. Fifth flower would have not bloomed. Last flower would have bloomed. But if you notice suddenly, you have 2 adjacent flowers. If you have 2 adjacent flowers, you can make a bouquet. So on day number 9, you can make 1 bouquet. But how many bouquets are you supposed to make? 3 bouquets. So did you understand what the question is asking? The question is asking, tell me a day in which, based on these kind of flowers and these kind of blooming periods, I can make 3 bouquets which makes use of 2 adjacent flowers. How are you able to think? Let's come to day 10. Day 10, all flowers would have bloomed. All flowers would have bloomed. Which means, do you see, adjacent, 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 right? How many flowers can I make? How many bouquets can I make? 3 bouquets, 2, 2, 2. 3 bouquets you made. M is 3, which means 10th day you can make 3 bouquets. Now, if 10th day you could make 3 bouquets, 11th day also you could have made 3 bouquets. 12th day also you could have made 3 bouquets. 13th day also you could have made 3 bouquets. Possible. But they are asking you, tell me the minimum of the maximum days in which I can make 3 bouquets. In 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, you can make bouquets in all those days. But out of all those days, day 10 is that day which is the maximum time it will take for all the flowers to bloom, such that you can create M bouquets and each bouquet makes use of K adjacent flowers. So this 10 must be your output. Did you understand the question? Ultimately, here also contiguous allocation only you are doing. Similar to the book allocation problem. Contiguous allocation only you are doing, right? Now, if contiguous allocation you are doing, maybe you cannot make use of binary search on this array. But would you agree, you can use binary search on this range, that is from day 1 till day 10 or whatever. How are you able to think? This is sequential, this is sorted. And ultimately, you are trying to search for a day which will allow you to make M bouquets of K flowers each, which must be adjacent. So this is our search range. Easy. Is your brain slowly able to understand the pattern? Now that you understood, this is very simple. Let's go ahead and establish the search range. So I am changing my array. This is my new array. I have to create, see now, what I will do is I will change the variable names. They are calling it as M and K. For easy understanding, I will change that M value to BOQ. BOQ means bouquets. How many bouquets should you create? 4 bouquets. Instead of K, I will change the value to flowers, because I need those many flowers to make a bouquet. Let us assume I need 2 adjacent flowers. Any confusion till here? Now what I want you to understand is very simple. You must find that day, that max day, which is actually the minimum of all the other maximum days it can take. Okay. So what I will do is simple. First, let's establish our search range. Now, what could be the search range? Very simple. Tell me ultimately, if I look at this array, I will see the smallest value I have is 2. Which means the flower which will take the least amount of days to bloom is this flower which will take just 2 days. So I will keep that 2 there. Similarly, you require the high also, the range, right? Now look at this and tell me, which is the flower which will take maximum days to bloom? It is nothing but this 10. I hope you are able to think, right? So I will keep 10 there. Now think about it. You want to find such a day in which you will have enough adjacent flowers to be able to create 4 bouquets which have 2 flowers each. That's all you need. Now, please understand that there is no need for all the flowers to bloom for me to be able to create 4 bouquets, because look at this. If these two flowers bloom, I can make one bouquet, they are adjacent. If these two flowers bloom, I can make one more bouquet because they are adjacent. If these two flowers bloom, I can make one more bouquet if they are adjacent. I can make one more bouquet out of this. So this flower need not have even bloomed. How are we able to think? But this is my search range to find the day, because less than 2 days, I will not even have a single flower in my garden. I can't make a bouquet. Now more than 10 days I don't need, because by the time I reach 10 days, all the flowers would have bloomed. So I will have enough flowers for my bouquet, right? But our duty is not to find the max. Our duty is trying to minimize the days as much as possible, such that I can make the required number of bouquets. Any confusion? So you found your search range. If you found your search range, you can apply binary search. Let's apply it. Okay. So I'm bringing up the table, lowest to highest and mid becomes 6. I hope you're able to think. I'm assuming 6th day is the day where I'll have enough flowers, but I need to check whether it's a possible solution. So what I will do is I will pass this m value to my function is possible solution. Now just the logic of this is possible solution may slightly change. Now how are we going to check whether on the 6th day you will have enough adjacent flowers to create 4 bouquets? If you ask me, simple. Listen to me. I'll create a variable called as adj for adjacent. Initialize it to 0. That variable will tell me how many adjacent flowers I have. I hope you're able to think. Next, I will create one more variable called as bc for bouquet count. I will initialize it to 0. Ultimately, this will tell me that on day 6, how many bouquets could have been possible. I hope you're able to think. Now see how I will write the code. I will run a loop, okay, on my array AR. So I begins from 0. So for I from 0 till length of A. Inside that, very simple, I want to see whether this flower, the ith flower, has bloomed on the given day M or not. I want to check. How will you check that? If you ask me, simple. If at all this flower would have bloomed, then would you agree its value should be lesser than or equal to the M value? If its value is lesser, 100% it would have bloomed. If it is equal to also, it would have bloomed. That's what I am checking. If in case the ith element in my array, is it less than or equal to M? In this case, is it less than or equal to M? Yes, it is. If it is, condition is true, I will come inside. Inside, what will you do? If it blooms, now I am assuming that I have found one flower. I found one adjacent flower. Okay, so what I will do is, I will update the value of adj. I will update it. So adj plus plus means now this adj value is going to become 1. Any confusion till here? Yes, we understood. Next what you may ask. Next what means, now I incremented the adjacent value. Now please understand, whenever you increment the adjacent value, don't you think there is a very, very good possibility that adjacent value could have become equal to the number of adjacent flowers that you need to make a bouquet? Possible, right? So what I will do is, immediately I will check, hey, is the adjacent value equal to the number of flowers I need to create a bouquet? If it is equal to the number of flowers I need, then I can create one bouquet. I create that and tell that the bouquet count has to increase. So this bouquet count from 0 has to become 1. So to do that, obviously here it should not become 1. So I am just reverting that. I will just tell bc plus plus means bouquet count I am trying to increment. Now think about it. You found a flower which has bloomed. You incremented adjacent value. Checked if you have had enough adjacent flowers to make a bouquet. You incremented the value of bouquet. Now you must not stop here. What else should we do? What you have to do is, now you have to check if in case the number of bouquet count that you have, is it equal to the number of bouquets you are supposed to make? You must check that. So I will check if in case the bouquet count is equal to this BOQ, which is the number of bouquets I should make. If it is equal, then this day is a possible solution. So I will just return true. Now not only will I return true, please understand this condition will only work if in case I have formed enough bouquets. But if this condition is not true, then I will come outside. If I come outside, what it goes on to mean is that I created one bouquet. See, when I incremented this, what does it mean? I created one bouquet. When did I increment it? When the number of adjacent flowers I have is equal to the expected number of flowers. Which means those two flowers which were adjacent to each other, I already used it. Now, I should again restart my count of adjacent flowers because I can't reuse it. I've already used it. So, what should you do? Shouldn't you reinitialize adjacent to 0? So, see, I will initialize adjacent back to 0. I hope you're able to think. That is how you have to do. Now, that is if in case a flower has bloomed. If it has not bloomed, then don't you agree the count of your adjacent remains 0 only because you are counting adjacent flowers. And if at all a flower didn't bloom, then that adjacent, that streak broke, that contiguous nature broke. So, adjacent again becomes 0. Now, if at all there is a solution, then somewhere this condition will satisfy, you will come out. If you come out of this loop, it means that you never were able to create enough bouquets. If you are never able to create enough bouquets, which means this M is not a solution, then just return false. Return false. As simple as that. Any confusion till here? Great, sir. We understood. What else? What else means? Let me trace this for you. Okay. So let's start. First and foremost, I am starting from the ith index. Is the ith element lesser than the day? Yes. Yes means it will bloom. If it blooms, I will increment the value of adj. It becomes 1. After that, I am checking if in case I have enough adjacent flowers to create a bouquet. How will you do that? Check if adj value is equal to flowers. Is it equal to flowers? No, because that is 1. Minimum flowers you need is 2. So what will happen is nothing. You are within a loop. Obviously, I value increments. I value goes to the next element. Tell me, is this lesser than the m value? Yes, 5 is less than 6, which means this flower will also bloom. If it blooms, what I will do is I will increment the adjacent value. Adjacent value from 1 now becomes 2. Now I will check if I have enough adjacent flowers to create a bouquet. By checking is adjacent equal to the number of flowers? Yes. If so, I can create a bouquet, increment the bouquet count. So bouquet count becomes 1. Any confusion till here? Okay, great. Now I made a bouquet. Now have I made enough bouquets according to the question? I should check. So I will check if in case the bouquet count is equal to the number of bouquets I should make, which is BOQ. No, it is not. It is not equal, which means I will come out of if. If I come out of if, what it means is that you already created a bouquet using these two adjacent flowers. You already created a bouquet. Now you can't create one more bouquet out of it, which means again I should reset that adjacent value to 0. I should reset it to 0, and that is what I am doing. You are within a loop. I moves forward. I moves forward. And next what happens if you ask me, now if in case you look at it, the bouquet count, it is 2. 2 means it is lesser than 6, it will bloom. 100% it will bloom. If it blooms, I will increment adjacent value becomes 1. After that, what I will do is, I will check if in case I have enough flowers to create a bouquet. No, I need minimum 2 flowers. Then I will come outside. I am within a loop, I value moves forward. If I value moves forward, look at it, 9. 9 is not less than 6, which means this will not bloom. On the 6th day, the 9th flower which will take 9 days will not bloom, which means this condition is false. If this condition is false, then come outside else and make that adjacent as 0. That is what we have to do, and that is what I am also doing. Adjacent becomes 0. Also, do you notice that in making that adjacent as 0, you have taken care of this condition where this flower didn't bloom. If this flower didn't bloom, then this bloomed flower is useless for me because I can't use it unless its adjacent flower is also bloomed. Which means here you incremented adjacent count, but because this didn't bloom, adjacent count should become 0. Did you understand how the question is taking care of itself, how the logic is taking care of itself? Great. You are within a loop. I moves forward. 3 is 100% lesser than 6, which means this flower will bloom. This flower will bloom. I will increment adjacent value. It becomes 1. After that, I will check whether I have enough adjacent flowers to make a bouquet. No, I have only 1 flower. I need 2 flowers. Okay, great. No problem. This condition will not satisfy. I am within a loop. I will move forward. Next flower will take 10 days. I am in day number 6. It will not bloom. Not bloom means this condition will be false. If it is false, adjacency broke. See, adjacency broke. If it broke, then that 1 should become 0, and that is what the code will take care of. Come to else, make adjacent as 0. Are you able to think? So, that is what I am doing. I am making it back as 0. Now I am within a loop, it moves forward. Next you can see is 4. If in case it is 4, then definitely it is less than 6, it will bloom. So adjacent count, I will increment it. I will check if I have enough flowers. No. Okay, I am within a loop, I will move forward. 6 is equal to 6, that flower will also bloom, which means I have found another adjacent flower. I will increment adjacent value, it will become 2. Any confusion? Next I will check whether I have enough adjacent flowers. Yes, I have enough adjacent flowers. I will create a bouquet, BC++. Bouquet count will become 1. After that I will check whether I have made enough bouquets or not. No, I need 4 bouquets, I have made only 1. So I made 1 bouquet. Now you use the 2 adjacent flowers. You use these 2 adjacent flowers. You made a bouquet, isn't it? Once you make bouquet, then shouldn't you make that adjacent as 0? Because you can't use these 2 flowers again. So adjacent count should become 0, and that is what the code takes care of. Adjacent count becomes 0. I will be able to think. Again, I will move forward within the loop. Next, 5 is less than 6, it will bloom. I will increment adjacent value, it becomes 1. I will check if I have enough flowers. No. So I am within a loop, I moves forward. 6 is equal to 6. So obviously I found another adjacent flower. Adjacent count becomes 2. Next what happens is I will check if I have enough flowers to create a bouquet. Yes, I will increment the value of bouquet count. So from 1, bouquet count now becomes 2. After becomes 3. 3 bouquets I have been able to make, right? After which next what happens is I will check if I have made enough bouquets. No, I need 4, I made only 3. So I will not return 2. I will replace adjacent 0. I am within a loop, I moves forward. If I moves forward, I am out of the loop. If I am out of the loop, I will come here. Look at that and tell me, have I been able to make 4 bouquets? No. How many bouquets did you make? 3 bouquets. I hope you are able to think. So you made only 3 bouquets, but you are supposed to make 4 bouquets, which means it is not a solution. Now that is why return false. Now return false means, come look at this. 6th day you check if it's a possible solution. No, you couldn't make enough bouquets. So if you have common sense, will you try to reduce the day or increase the day? Obviously you have to increase the days, only then more flowers will bloom. So tell me, should search go to the left or to the right? To the right. Right means low should become mid plus 1, and that is what I am also doing. Low becomes mid plus 1, high remains the same. So now your low is 7 and your high is 10, in which case your mid becomes 8. Is the 8th day a possible solution? We will check. If in case I go to the 8th day and if in case I start checking, if in case it is a possible solution, then we will easily observe that 100% it is not a solution. How will you find out if it is not a solution? If you ask me, we will use this is possible solution. If I use is possible solution, one thing that you can clearly observe is that I will start I from 0. From the 0th element I will start I. Now obviously 2 is less than 8, it will bloom. Increment adjacent count. Now I am not going to explain each and everything. Increment adjacent count becomes 1. 5 is less than 8, it increments, adjacent count becomes 2. So next 2 flowers I have, so I can create a bouquet. Bouquet count increases. Adjacent count becomes 0. I will check if in case I have made 4 bouquets. Now I made only 1 bouquet, right? Which means loop will now move forward. Next this 2, again I found an adjacent flower because it would have bloomed on the 8th day. So I will increment adjacent count. Next I will check if I have enough flowers. No, I don't have enough flowers. I have only 1 adjacent flower. I cannot create a bouquet. Next it moves forward. If in case it moves forward, 9th, that flower which will take 9 days would have not bloomed on the 8th day, which means obviously this flower will not bloom. I will not increment the adjacent count and my adjacency broke, which means I will come to else and reinitialize adjacent to 0. So as of now I have been able to create only 1 bouquet, right? Next it moves forward. Again you see 3 is less than 8. Yes, I found 1 adjacent. I will increment it. Next I moves forward. 10 is not lesser than that, which means obviously it will not bloom. If it will not bloom, adjacency broke, so I will come to else part, reset adjacent to 0. Then what I will do is I moves forward. Now this flower will definitely bloom. It's 4 days it will take, we are in the 8th day. So adjacent count increases. Then the 6th day flower will also bloom, right, because it is less than 8. So adjacent count increases. I can create a bouquet because I have 2 flowers now. I'll increment bouquet count. How many bouquets I have made? 2 bouquets. If I made a bouquet, adjacent flowers count has to become 0 again, and that is what I am doing. After that, I moves forward. Next, this fifth flower will also bloom. Next, adjacent count increases. Sixth flower will also bloom. Adjacent count increases. 2 flowers I have created. I'll increment the BC count, which is the bouquet count, and now the bouquet count becomes 3. I hope you're able to think. After that, I'll check, do I have enough bouquets? I don't have enough bouquets, which means I moves forward and then I'm out of the loop. I've made only 3 bouquets. I needed 4 bouquets. It is not a possible solution. Return false. If it is not a possible solution, obviously the number of days has to increase. How we're able to think. So low becomes mid plus 1, and that is what I am also showing. Low becomes, mid was 8, 8 plus 1, 9. High remains the same. 10 plus 9 is 19. 19 divided by 2 is 9. Any confusion till here? So my new mid value is low happens to be 9, high happens to be 10, mid happens to be 9. Now is 9 a possible solution? Let us see. Let us start. So I will send it to is possible solution. Iteration begins from the 0th element. Will it bloom? Yes. Increment adjacent count. Move forward. Will it bloom? Yes. Increment adjacent count. 2 flowers you found. Create a bouquet. Increment bouquet count. Okay. Created enough bouquets? No, you have created only 1 bouquet. Okay, since you have created a bouquet, these 2 flowers cannot be used. Make adjacent count back as 0. Next, I moves forward. Will this flower bloom? Yes, increment adjacent count. Will the next flower bloom? Yes, increment adjacent count because it is equal to 9. 2 flowers you found. Increment bouquet count. Bouquet count becomes 2, right? After that, you created a bouquet. So check if it is equal to the number of bouquets. No, 2 is not equal to 4, which means still you have not found a solution. Great. No problem. Increment I. If I, now the moment you created a bouquet, you should also reset adjacent value. It becomes 0. Now 3, will it bloom? Yes. Increment adjacent count. Next, 10, will it bloom? No. No means adjacency is broken. Reset adjacency count as 0. All this is code will take care of. Okay, great. You are within a loop. Move I forward. Will this flower bloom? Yes. Increment adjacency count. It becomes 1. Right? Move this forward. Will this bloom? Yes. Increment adjacency count. It becomes 2. Now 2 flowers you have. Create a bouquet. Increment bouquet count. 3 bouquets you have created. Beautiful. See if 3 is equal to the number of bouquets that you want. No. No means you have to still move forward, right? But because I created a bouquet, I need to reset the adjacency count. It becomes 0. Next, I will move forward. Will this bouquet, will this flower bloom? Yes. Increment adjacency count. It becomes 1. Then, will this flower bloom? Yes. Increment adjacency count. It becomes 2. I hope you are able to think. 2 flowers you have, which means you can create a bouquet. Increment the bouquet count. Bouquet count becomes 4. Is 4 equal to 4? Yes. First time this condition is satisfied. Is BC equal to BOQ? Yes. Yes means return true. True means it is a possible solution. It is a possible solution. Beautiful. This is a possible solution. But tell me, our duty is to minimize this value as much as possible. 9 is a possible solution, but there can be a day lesser than 9. To search that, now your search should not be to the right, your search should be restricted to the left. If search should be restricted to the left, then high should become mid minus 1. That's what I'm doing. High becomes mid minus 1. Low is the same, but the moment you do that, low becomes greater than high. Binary search loop terminates and you come outside, and hence what is your result was the last possible solution, which is nothing but 9. I hope everybody understood. Nothing new I am doing. It is vastly similar to all those previous problems that I have done, right? So I really hope you understood this question. So if you can see, whenever you have to perform contiguous allocation and then either maximize or minimize something, then binary search is a beautiful option for you to explore, right? And the only change which happens is in this is possible solution logic, which depends upon the kind of conditions that the question imposes upon you. Allocating books had different conditions imposed on you. Bouquets question has different kind of conditions imposed on you. That painter partition problem had different kind of questions imposed upon you. Depending upon that, this changes. But here all you can see is you must iterate over the loop and check for the conditions that the question has imposed upon you. That's it. I hope you're able to think. Great. Now what are we really waiting for? Let's go write some code. Alright my friends, let's write some code. Okay. So you can see I have my min day bouquets, that is the name I've given, because we have to find the minimum days in which you can create m bouquets, right? And it is taking my array and BOQ and flowers, number of bouquets and adjacent flowers required to create one bouquet. Also we need is possible solution, we'll look at that. Anyways, I'll come inside this, and all I will do is first and foremost, before just going and doing all our looping, I'll directly check for one condition. Let us assume you have 3 flowers in your garden. So the array is 3. It will bloom at different days, some value I am giving. Okay. Now you need to create 3 bouquets. Let us assume you need to create 3 bouquets. And for every bouquet, the number of flowers you require is 2 flowers. Which means totally how many flowers you need? 3 bouquets into 2 flowers each, 6 flowers. How many elements are there in your array? Just 3, which means only 3 flowers in the garden. But you want 6 flowers every day to create 3 bouquets. Is it possible? Can a solution be provided? No. So, if in case the total number of flowers required for a bouquet, which is nothing but bouquet into flowers, if that is greater than the number of flowers in the garden, then directly return -1 or tell that solution is not possible. That's what I'm doing. If in case bouquet into flowers, that is the total number of flowers which I need, is greater than the number of elements in my array, ar.length, then return -1. Otherwise, simply you will be wasting your time. Okay, next. Now we have to set low and high. So low is the minimum value in your array. So I am assuming initially the first value is only the minimum value. Okay. Next, high value also is nothing but the largest element in your array. So I will just make that as AR of 0. I will assume that the first element is only high. Now I will run a loop to find the actual low and actual high. So for, I will just run a loop over my array. Inside that I will check if in case AR of I is lesser than L value, then that should be the L value. So L is equal to AR of I. One more condition I will check. If in case AR of I is greater than H, then that is the actual H value. That is higher, right? So I will replace H with AR of I. That's pretty much it. Simple. So you found the maximum and minimum in your array, which is your low and high. Now what I will do is scroll it. I will now tell as long as low is less than equal to high. I am applying binary search. Then what I am going to do is inside that, very simple, I will now find mid. And okay. Next what I will do is I will create one variable called as result on top, and I will assume that initially there is no result, so I will make it as -1. Good. Now what I will do is just a simple thing. I will now check if in case I want to check if this m is a possible solution. So I will call is possible solution and pass m to it. So if you look at it, I am passing my array, I am passing the number of bouquets I should create, I am passing the number of adjacent flowers required and m value. Now if at all this returns true, if this returns true, then I know I found a solution, but my duty is to minimize that solution. So what I will do is, I will first store that solution inside result. Result is equal to m. But I want to find a lesser solution. So what I will do is, I will restrict the search to the left side by making high equal to mid -1. Okay. Else means what? This gave you false. No solution. No solution means increase the number of the day. So low is equal to mid +1. And then ultimately I will come out of the loop and I will return result. That's it guys, simple. Now there is possible solution logic. Let's, okay, yeah, declare that on top. Fine. Now watch it, I'll go to is possible solution. And there what I'm going to do is a very simple thing, which is inside that I will go and first and foremost I will create a variable called as int adj, adjacent flowers, make it as 0. Also I will create one variable called as bc, bouquet count, I will make it as 0. Next, I'll run a loop on my array AR. Next, what I'm going to do is, after running a loop on my array AR, is leave some space. Inside this, I will come and I will start my logic. So first and foremost, I will check if in case the ith element is lesser than m. M is the day. So if the ith element is lesser than the day, the flower will bloom. So if it blooms less than equal to. Equal to is also fine. If it is less than equal to, then I will increment the adjacent flower count by 1. Next, I will check if I have sufficient adjacent flowers to create a bouquet. So I will check if in case ADJ is equal to this flower's value. If so, then bring that bracket down. If so, what I will do now is I will increment the bouquet count, because I know I can create one bouquet. So BC plus plus. Now you created a bouquet. If you created a bouquet, there is a chance you have created enough number of bouquets as the question expects. So I'll check that if in case BC is equal to BOQ. Yeah. If that is the case, then what I will do is I will return true, because it is a solution. But if at all this was not equal, then I will come outside this if. This if. Here. I will come outside that if, and I have created a bouquet. If I have created a bouquet, then it is my duty to ensure that I will reset the adjacent value to 0, because I have already used those two flowers. So ADJ equal to 0. Any confusion till this point of time? Great. That is if in case a flower bloomed. Bring that bracket also down. That is if in case that flower bloomed. Otherwise, I will come to else. In else, what will you do, sir? In else, what I will do is, if it comes to else, it means adjacency condition broke. Something bloomed, something didn't bloom. Then again, adjacent value should become 0. That is it. I hope I am clear. Okay. And if I come out of the for loop, it means I never was able to create the amount of bouquets I was supposed to. So return false, not a solution. Good. Now what we will do is, we will first come down and I will copy this entire function from int. See, I will not copy static, I will tell you why. From int till that end I will copy and paste it inside LeetCode. So I ask you to copy fully. Okay, anyways, paste the solutions. Yeah. Now, the method name, go on top. If you can just increase the size of this, make it full screen. There, full screen. Yeah, not working? Okay, so now the thing is that scroll on top, this function name has to be min days according to LeetCode. Okay, so here you can see they have called the array as bloomday, we have called it as AR, so I will replace that with AR. They have called M, I will call it as BOQ, the number of bouquets. They have called it as K, I will call it as flowers, the number of adjacent flowers required. So that change in the signature, you can definitely do it. Any confusion till here? But you cannot change the name of the function, that is defined. Now I need this is possible solution. Now you may think, sir, why didn't you copy static? Because understand, it is inside a class called a solution. Now you guys know anything inside a class is an instance method, right? Is a member of the class, and you should not declare it as static. Static is if you want it to not be called using an object. So here they are putting it inside a class, make it a member function or an instance method itself. Okay, great. Now I'll just go and I'll also copy that other is possible solution function and that too without static. And what I'm just going to do now is I'll just paste it there. Great. Now let's submit the code. So if I submit the code, then it is running all the test cases, accepted. Okay, I'll submit it. If I submit it, then yeah, bring this. So 15 millisecond, faster than 95% of Java online submissions. Okay, whatever. Good, great. So it has been accepted. Okay. So do you see? It's an interesting question, and I seriously hope all of you enjoyed, and slowly your brain is able to recognize patterns in questions and apply the right algorithm to solve it. I will catch you in the next class with even more cooler programs. Till then, take care.